Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to a reading of the Bible. We are, excuse me, apologies. Daniel chapter 2. We have to read Daniel chapter 2 and chapter 3 according to the chronological Bible because it's split up in Jeremiah. So, looking over here, should be in Daniel. Yes. So, Daniel chapter 2, which is pretty fairly long chapter, honestly. Chapter 2 is fairly long, and then we have to read chapter 3 before we get back to Jeremiah 7. Yes. So we're going to do probably 3 reading videos today. Before we get back to uh, Jeremiah. So let's read Daniel 2 today, and then we'll do another video, and then we'll do Daniel 3. Third video will be Jeremiah chapter 7. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, the king dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake for him. Old King James break, like a car brake. Left, which basically what it's saying, he could not sleep. He couldn't stay asleep. Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers, sorcerers, the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit has what's troubled, to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, the Syrian language, I believe. Excuse me, verse or Aramaic. Aramaic, yeah. In Aramaic or Syriac, as it says in King James. O king, live thou forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show or give out the interpretation. Nebuchadnezzar answered, saying to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me, the dream is gone. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if ye show the dream, and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards with great honor. Therefore show me the dream, or tell the dream and the interpretation thereof. The magicians answered saying, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation thereof. Nebuchadnezzar answered, saying, I know of certainty that ye will gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me, the dream is gone. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you, for ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed, and therefore tell me the dream. Therefore tell me the dream, and I will know that ye can show me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldeans answered the king, saying, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler who asks such things of any magician, astrologer, or Chaldean. It is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other who can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. The decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows, his three friends, Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael, to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel, and we sent to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, who was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. Daniel said unto Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel, who was named Belteshazzar by Nebuchadnezzar, then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, give Daniel time, that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercy of the God of heaven concerning the secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might or power, dunamis, are his. He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. Speaking of God. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them who know understanding, or have understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him, or within. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, or dunamis, power, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter, or his dream. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. Daniel went and said thus unto him, destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah, who will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king, saying, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, and soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven, who revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind unto thy bed, what shall come to pass hereafter? And he who revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living person, but for their sakes who shall make known the interpretation to the king, that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was awesome. It says terrible, but the footnote says awesome. Verse 31. Yeah, awesome. The image's head was of fine gold, his breasts and arms of silver, his belly and thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part iron and part clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of clay and iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then there was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold, broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This was the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the art a, not the king of kings, art a king of kings. For the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. Wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, fowls of the heaven, hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them. Thou art this head of gold. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay, and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. As the toes of the feet were part of iron, part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. In the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. Then King Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel, saying, Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods, and Lord of kings, and the revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many gifts, many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego, that's their Babylonian names, over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. That's chapter 2. Chapter 3. I can read chapter 3. I'm sorry. I'm going to read chapter 3. So, chapter 2, it gives the 4 kingdoms. If you study prophecy, if you have studied prophecy, you should know what those 4 kingdoms are. But if you don't, here's a little lesson on those 4 kingdoms. The first one, of course, is Babylon. That's Nebuchadnezzar, as was established. The second one is actually 2 kingdoms. That's the iron, right? Second kingdom is a dream. You are that. Verse 38, thou, Daniel, talking to Nebuchadnezzar, thou art the head of gold. Another kingdom inferior to thee, and the third kingdom of brass. After thee shall rise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass. There's, let's go back. Oh, silver. So silver, okay. So the second kingdom is silver, and silver represents the Medians and the Persians. Medes and the Persians. That is Darius the Mede and Cyrus, king of Persia. Now, Persia is Iran, I believe. Modern Persia is Iran. Cyrus was the king who allowed the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem from Babylon. So you got Nebuchadnezzar, you have Darius the Mede, Cyrus the Persian. The fourth kingdom is the kingdom of Rome. But there's also another vision of the four beasts, and we may read that in Daniel chapter 3, possibly. But there's actually four kingdoms. No, I'm sorry. There is a final kingdom coming, which will never end. But there's Darius the Mede, Cyrus the Persian. There's a fourth kingdom represented by Alexander the Great, Macedonian guy, which later became Rome, I believe. Let me share this. Make sure I got this right. So go to four kingdom. It's four kingdoms of Daniel. Here we go. Babylon, yeah, Greece and Rome. Okay, so there's four kingdoms. So there's actually five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 countries, but 2 of them have an alliance. That's Medo-Persia. So you got Nebuchadnezzar. Excuse me. Stop sharing. You got Nebuchadnezzar. You have Medo-Persians as Darius and Cyrus. You have Greece, which is Alexander the Great, and then you have Rome. Okay, and Rome, Greece will be divided because Alexander the Great died, had no heir, and his kingdom was split up in 10 by 10 generals. And then you have Rome coming in, and Rome becomes a very big empire with the Herodians. Just before the Herodians, there were Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth, and a whole bunch of other guys. And then the Herodians came in, and what they call Hellenized the world, especially Jerusalem. And it was King Herod the Great who rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem. And Herod the Great was king when Jesus was born. His son, Herod Antipas, was king during Jesus' trial, his crucifixion, and resurrection. I think it was Herod Antipas. And I think there was another Herod, another Herod during Paul's time, the Apostle Paul's time. So it's crazy, crazy history. But that's the interpretation of, that's a fulfillment of this vision of chapter 2 of Daniel. Now, chapter 3 of Daniel gives us chapter 3, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits. That's 60 cubits. Yeah, 60 cubits. And the breadth of 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes. That's that could be his sons or different types of governors, because it says princes, governors, captains, judges, treasurers, counselors, and sheriffs, sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors, the captains, judges, treasurers, counselors, sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. It's just repeating itself almost. That stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear, at the time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music." That's music with a K at the end. That's interesting. "Ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Whosoever falleth not down and worshipeth not shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace." Therefore, at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of musical instruments, all the peoples, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man who shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. Whosoever faileth not, falleth not down, and worshipeth not, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego, Azariah, Mishael, and Hananiah. Not in that order. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego, and they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake, saying to them, "Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego, do not serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if ye be ready at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if you do fall down, you'll be well. But if you worship not, you shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego answered, saying to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. He will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fear, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times. Heat the furnace 7? Or is it 7 times? 17 times or 7 times? Then it was wont to be heated. He commanded the most mighty men who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew those men who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego. These 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abed-Nego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and saying to his counselors, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fiery furnace?" They answered and said, "Yes, we did." "True, O king, that is true." Nebuchadnezzar said, "Lo, I see 4 men loose, 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, they're undamaged, and the form of the fourth is like the Son of God." Interesting, it's a Son of God in the King James. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, speaking, saying, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither." Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth in the midst of the fire. The princes, governors, captains, the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, and was a hair of their heads singed, neither were the coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on to them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake, saying, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angel, and delivered his servants who trusted in him, and hath changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god, except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, language who would speak, or who speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Now here's a question. Where was Daniel in chapter 3? He went bye-bye. Probably, I would say he went on an errand for Nebuchadnezzar. It's interesting that he had this dream about this statue, this idol. And he makes the statue anyway in the next chapter. So that is chapters 2 and 3. Decided to do one video. Chapters 2 and 3 of Daniel. Later on, I will read Jeremiah chapter 7. Hope you enjoyed it. I will also put a link to a video about the song called "The Fourth Man." There's a funny version of the song, but I'm gonna give you the true version of the song called "The Fourth Man." You'll hear it. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this reading. I'll see you guys later. Bye.